येलो बल्ब्स यूज करायचो तेही 60 वॉटचे असायचे. तर इमॅजिन की एक अख्खा सॅटेलाईट फक्त 2 वॉटवरती फंक्शन करत आहे. तर याच्यासाठी स्टॅबिलाईज करण्यासाठी थँक्यू. तर स्टॅबिलाईज करण्यासाठी आम्ही पॅसिव्ह स्टॅबिलायझेशन यूज करतो. कुठलीही एक्सटर्नल एनर्जी न यूज करता तो स्वतः अर्थच्या मॅग्नेटिक फील्डच्या अनुसार स्वतःला स्टॅबिलाईज करतो आणि याचं ड्युरेशन साधारण 15 दिवस असं एस्टिमेटेड होतं. तर तो आता कम्प्लिटली स्टॅबिलाईज झाला आहे आणि हे मिशन सक्सेसफुल झालं आहे असं आम्ही रिपोर्ट देऊ शकतो. मला आज खूप आनंद झाला इकडे येऊन. ॲक्च्युली आम्ही entrepreneurs is calling us an entrepreneur is a great honor to us. But when even Dr. Sir said about what entrepreneur is, then maybe we are moving towards the path, I can say. कारण की आम्ही जेव्हा सुरू केलं तेव्हा एक फक्त सिव्हिल इंजिनियर होता ज्याच्या डोक्यामध्ये ही कल्पना आली की आपण एक सॅटेलाईट बिल्ड करावा. सो देर इज अ ग्रेट आयडिया. आणि त्याच्यानंतर 8 वर्ष वेगवेगळ्या बॅचेसनी त्यांना दिस इज अ परपेच्युअल प्रोजेक्ट की एक बॅच पासआउट झाली की जी ज्युनियर बॅच असते फर्स्ट इयरची, तर दे लर्न फ्रॉम द सिनियर्स. वी हॅव कॉन्फरन्सेस, वी हॅव मीटिंग्स आणि वी हॅव अ व्हेरी सॉलिड डॉक्युमेंटेशन. आणि जितकं आम्ही सक्सेसेसचं डॉक्युमेंटेशन करतो तितकंच किंवा त्याच्यापेक्षाही जास्त महत्त्व आम्ही फेल्युअर्स डॉक्युमेंट करायला देतो. बिकॉज जी चूक सिनियर्सनी केली तीच परत ज्युनियर्स करून त्याच्यामध्ये वेळ घालवू नये हा त्याच्यामागचा उद्देश आहे. तर आय एम व्हेरी थँकफुल टू एंटरप्रेनर्स असोसिएशन अँड द क्लब. थँक्यू व्हेरी मच.
Thank you so much, Akanksha, for sharing that with us. Mr. Choradia, we know you are in a hurry, but we would still like to hear a few words from you.
एंटरप्रेनर्स डेच्या आजच्या कार्यक्रमाचे अध्यक्ष श्री देशपांडेजी, माझे सहकारी ललवाणी जोशी आणि एंटरप्रेनर्स क्लबचे सर्व पदाधिकारी ज्यांना आज आपण सत्कार केला आहे ते सर्व त्यांच्या क्षेत्रातील यशस्वी सत्कारार्थी, उद्याचे उद्यमशील युवक विद्यार्थी आणि बंधू भगिनींनो, हा एंटरप्रेनर्स क्लब आम्ही 23 वर्षापूर्वी बाळ पाटील इथे जे होते जॉईंट डायरेक्टर, आणि मी फक्त थोडं मला भूतकाळात जाण्याची आपोआप या प्रसंगी हे जावं लागलं की आजचा काळ आणि त्या काळात आम्हाला अशा क्लबची गरज का पडली. तुम्ही 25 वर्षापूर्वीचा जर पाहिलं, जेव्हा लिबरलायझेशन सुरू झालं 91मध्ये, त्यापूर्वी इंडस्ट्रीत असणारे लोक आणि DIC बरोबर त्यांचे संबंध किंवा DICकडे जाण्याचे प्रसंग आणि तिथून नकार घेऊन जाण्याचं प्रमाण हे अतोनात मोठं होतं. आणि आम्ही छोटी छोटी उद्योगातली मंडळी त्यावेळेला जी थोडी एस्टॅब्लिश होत होतो, तर ह्या सगळ्या सरकारी जाच किंवा परवानग्या किंवा त्यांच्याबरोबर रॅपो, काही माहिती याचं एक्सचेंजसाठी चांगले प्लॅटफॉर्म नव्हते. चेंबरसारखी पुण्यात एकमेव संस्था होती, मराठा चेंबर, आणि रॅपो इंटरॅक्शन आणि लोकांना एकमेकांमध्ये काही एक्सचेंज व्हावे, विचारांचं काही नवीन ज्ञान मिळावं यासाठी काही प्लॅटफॉर्म नव्हता. आणि तो सुरू करावा असं जेव्हा मनात आलं तेव्हा मी 20 वर्ष त्यावेळी ऑलरेडी व्यवसायात होतो आणि लक्षात आलं की असं काही सुरू झालं तर पुढे फायदा होईल. उद्योग सुरू करणाऱ्याला उत्साह असतो आणि उद्योगाचा अर्थच आहे की लाईफमध्ये जसं आपण म्हणतो डेअरिंग आणि ॲडव्हेंचर असेल तर लाईफमध्ये स्पाईस असतं, नाहीतर काहीच नाही, मग रुटीन चालूच आहे. आणि एंटरप्रेनर व्हायचं तर यात अजून एक ॲडिशन होतं की रिस्क पण आली. कारण रिस्क अशी असते की आज खूप मोठं आणि लोकांच्या नजरा किंवा अनुभव एक्सपांड झालेत सर्वच इन्फॉर्मेशन शेअरिंगमुळे. पण त्यावेळेला फेल्युअरची सगळ्यात जास्त भीती असायची. फेल्युअर नको म्हणून मग आपलं जे काही झापड लावल्याप्रमाणे चांगली नोकरी किंवा चांगले पोस्ट जे त्या चाकोरीतनं बाहेर पडले ते उद्योगात आले आणि आज ते नक्कीच नावारूपाला आलेले उद्योग असतील आणि त्याच्या मागे त्यांचे सर्व प्रयत्न असतात. परंतु प्रयत्नाला एक कुठेतरी पुश जो लागतो तो अशा काही छोट्या संस्थेमधनं मिळेल असं आम्हाला वाटलं, म्हणून आम्ही ती संस्था सुरू केली. आणि आज 23 वर्षानंतर संस्था इतकं चांगलं आणि मोठं आणि वाईड स्पेक्ट्रमवर काम करते ते पाहून आनंद वाटला की जे काही थोडीफार आम्ही कॉन्ट्रीब्युशन पुण्यातल्या उद्योगांसाठी करू शकलो ते पुढे चालू आहे, वाढतं आहे. त्या सर्व कार्याला शुभेच्छा. एक इंडस्ट्री आणि एक ॲग्रोवेट इंडस्ट्रीलाही आपण आज इथे सपोर्ट केला आहे. तर ॲग्रिकल्चर आणि हेल्थ हे 2 माझे विषय आहेत की ज्यामध्ये मी आता जास्त वेळ काम करतो आणि या दोन्हीचं सांगड खूप महत्त्वाची आहे. टेक्नॉलॉजीमुळे आम्हाला सर्व साधनं सुविधा आणि आमचं लाईफ इझी होतं, रोजच्या त्रास कमी होतात. परंतु चांगलं फूड मिळाल्याशिवाय चांगलं आरोग्य मिळणार नाही आणि चांगलं आरोग्य असल्याशिवाय इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये असो किंवा तुमच्या प्रत्येकाच्या आयुष्यासाठी असो आपण जीवनात जो एक सार्थ आणि अर्थ पाहिजे तो मिळवू शकत नाही. तर चांगल्या अन्नाचं रिसोर्सिंग आता कमी होत चाललं आहे. मला वाटतं खुटवडांनी ज्याला काही आपण फार शब्द दिलेत रंगवून की ऑर्गॅनिक फार्मिंग पाहिजे का आणखी काय मिनिमम प्रोसेस पाहिजे, परंतु चांगला अन्नाचा अर्थ असा पाहिजे की ज्याच्यामध्ये खरंच मला आवश्यक न्यूट्रिशन व्हॅल्यू काय आहे. आणि डॉक्टरांनी माझ्या मित्रांनी देसरडांनी खूप थोडक्यात सांगितलं, त्याचा उल्लेख पुन्हा एकदा करीन की मार्केटिंग आणि लॉबिस्ट अशा प्रकारामुळे कुठले फूड प्रॉडक्ट आपल्यावर म्हणजे आजारी हरण्याचा एखादा 100तले 100 किंवा 50 लोक होतील, परंतु रोजच्या फूडमुळे 100तले 100 लोकांना काही ना काहीतरी टॉक्सिन आपण इंटेक करतोय याची जाणीव करून देणं हे एक नॅशनल इम्पॉर्टन्स. आणि माझं एक मी आता याच्या पुढे एक धोरण ठरवलं की त्याचा थोडा आपण प्रसार आणि त्याच्यावर काही सोल्युशन याच्यावर अभ्यास करायचा. तर आपल्यापैकी कोणी एंटरप्रेनर या दृष्टीने काम करत असतील तर दे आर मोस्ट वेलकम. आणि या 2 गोष्टी या बेसिक माणसाच्या जीवनात आणि जोपर्यंत ह्युमन लाईफ आहे तोपर्यंत राहणार आहेत, त्यामुळे त्याच्यावर काही काम करावं अशी माझी इच्छा आहे. आपणा सर्वांबरोबर इथे मला माझे विचार मांडण्याची संधी दिली, मला आपणा सर्वांची भेट घेण्याची संधी दिली. आपणास धन्यवाद. थँक्यू.
Thank you so much, sir. Pandit Toranmalji, few words from you, please.
नमस्कार. आजच्या कार्यक्रमाचे प्रमुख पाहुणे श्री देशपांडे साहेब, माझे सहकारी ललवाणी जोशी साहेब आणि उपस्थित मान्यवर आणि सर्व अवॉर्डीज, फॅमिलीज, मित्र सर्वांना. खरं तर आमची ही जी संस्था आहे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स क्लब किंवा एंटरप्रेन्योर्स इंटरनॅशनल, ज्यावेळेला सायटेशनमध्ये त्यांनी सांगितलं की उद्योजक मंच हा छोटासा रोपटं होतं आणि त्याचं हे एवढं मोठं स्वरूप सगळ्यांना पाहायला मिळते आणि ते इतके वर्ष चालेल आणि पुढेही चालूच राहील असं काही कधी वाटलं नव्हतं. पण तेव्हा आम्ही हे सुरू केलं आणि हाच जो सत्कार किंवा गौरव करत आहात, आपल्याच कुटुंबाचा गौरव करण्याची कधी तर प्रथा नाही आमच्या क्लबमध्ये. पण मी नम्रपणे आमच्या सर्व सहकाऱ्यांच्या वतीने ज्या वेळेला हा क्लब सुरू झाला किंवा उद्योजक मंच सुरू झाला त्यावेळेला जे माझे सहकारी होते ते आजही उपस्थित आहेत. सुनील घुले, प्रकाश भंडारी, धनंजय राजूरकर वगैरे. आणि या सर्व सहकाऱ्यांच्या वतीनं आम्ही हा सन्मान स्वीकारत आहे. खरं तर आत्ताच चोरडिया साहेबांनी सांगितलं त्याप्रमाणे की तो जो काही काळ होता त्यावेळेला खरंच प्रत्येकजण रखडत चालला होता, मी स्वतःसुद्धा. त्यामुळे ही क्लब किंवा ही संकल्पना उपयोगाची आहे असं वाटलं. मी माझ्या व्यवसायातसुद्धा 2 ते 2.5% पर मंथ असं व्याज दिलेलं आहे त्या काळी. त्यामुळे या क्लबच्या माध्यमातून फायनान्स या विषयावर काहीतरी व्हायला पाहिजे म्हणून आम्ही सिडबीचे 2 कार्यक्रम घेतले. त्यातला एक कार्यक्रम MCCIच्या मोठ्या हॉलमध्ये झाला होता आणि हॉलमध्ये बसायला नाही, उभं राहायलासुद्धा जागा नव्हती, एवढा मोठा प्रचंड प्रतिसाद आम्हाला मिळाला. मार्केटिंग किंवा प्रमोशनल ॲक्टिव्हिटी म्हणून आम्ही दिल्लीला टूर गेली होती. फताटे साहेबांनी त्यावेळेला लीड घेतलेला होता. दिल्लीमध्ये आम्ही एक्झिबिशन आणि टूर्स वगैरे अरेंज केलेल्या होत्या आणि ही सगळी जर्नी तुमच्या सगळ्यांच्या समोर आहे. या सगळ्या प्रवासामध्ये माझ्याबरोबर माझं कुटुंबीय, माझी पत्नी, मुलं, जवळचे नातेवाईक आणि सहकारी या सर्वांनी मला खूपच साथ दिली. कोणीही मागे ओढायचा प्रयत्न नाही केला. त्याच्यामुळे हे चालू राहिलं आणि या सर्वांना, आपल्या सर्वांना धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Mr. Toranmal. I think all the awardees deserve another round of applause. I think we can excuse the students. They need to move. So thank you so much for coming, Akanksha and Jerry. Okay. I would now also request our chief guest, Dr. Anand Deshpande, to release the souvenir of Entrepreneurship International 2016. Thank you, sir, for doing the honors. Friends, as the greats have said, change is the only thing that is constant. And the time has come now for the change of guard at the various entrepreneurial clubs under Entrepreneurship International. For EC Pune, Mr. Ganesh Mohite will hand over charge to myself, Dr. Ashish Taukar. We have the EC Pimpri Chinchwad, Mr. Sagar Kasar, will hand over charge to Mr. Sanjay Bhelle, and Entrepreneurs Club Nigdi, Mr. Dhananjay, will hand over charge to Mr. Pratap Jadhav. Can I request Ganesh Mohite please come on stage? I would now request Mr. Sagar Kasar to please come over and hand over charge to Mr. Sanjay Bhelle. For Nigdi Club, Mr. Dhananjay to hand over charge to Mr. Pratap Jadhav. Thanks to the various clubs for putting your faith in the new leadership. Wishing all the new chairmen all the very best for their terms. Now, the time has come to listen to the words of wisdom from our chief guest, Dr. Anand Deshpande. I would now request Mr. Sagar Kasar to introduce our chief guest.
Thank you, Dr. Taukar. Good evening, friends. It's a great honor and privilege to introduce today's chief guest, Dr. Anand Deshpande. Anand is the founder, chairman, and managing director of Persistent Systems, a company that he founded in 1990. A true technology visionary, Anand's strength lies in identifying and investing in next generation technologies early on and encouraging internal entrepreneurship to ensure that Persistent Systems stays at the forefront of technological innovation. Anand has been the driving force in growing Persistent from startup to the publicly traded global company of today. An alumni of IIT Kharagpur, Anand has a BTech degree in computer science and engineering, a master's degree and a PhD in computer science from Indiana University, Bloomington, USA. He has worked as a MTS at Hewlett Packard Laboratories, Palo Alto, California, from 1989 to 1990. Anand has been recognized for his technology and business leadership as well as his contributions to public welfare. His recent awards include the CSI Fellowship Award for Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Information Technology, the Career Achievement Award from the School of Informatics at Indiana University, Bloomington, and IIT Kharagpur Distinguished Alumnus Award. In recognition of his contribution to the IT sector, he was awarded the Entrepreneur Award at the Brihan Maharashtra Mandal Convention held in Atlanta, USA in 2005. He is the recipient of the CSI Fellowship Award in 2007 for outstanding achievement in the field of information technology. Business Today, a leading publication in partnership with PwC, has named Anand to its 2016 Best CEO list. They find Anand's vision as technological innovation that has emerged not just as a savior, but also as one of the greatest levers of growth even during downtime. He's also been awarded the Maharashtrian of the Award by Maharashtra Times. As an active member of the database community, Anand was the host of Very Large Databases, that is VLDB conference, held in Mumbai in 1996, ICDE 2003 in Bangalore. Anand is currently co-chairing the VLDB 2016 conference as well. He is the founder member of India's first product think tank, iSpirit, member and past president of ACM India Council, member IEEE, Institution of Engineers, Computer Society of India. He is the member of Executive Committee of NASSCOM, chairman of the IT Committee of MCCIA. Anand was the president of Software Export Association of Pune, known as SIP, in 2005 to 2007, and was the chairman of CII, Pune Zonal Council, in 2009-10. Anand has been a driving force behind Corporate Social Responsibility Initiative of Persistent Systems. To institutionalize CSR initiative, Persistent Foundation was registered in March 2009. The work of the foundation focuses on three areas: health, education, and community development. Persistent Foundation's flagship project of this year includes Swachh Vidyalay Abhiyan, covering 110 government schools, installation of rooftop PV systems at Pune railway station for green energy, and 8 watershed projects under Jalayukta Shivar Yojana. Anand strongly believes in wise advice of dividing life into 3 parts: learn, earn, and return to the society. He wanted to use his wealth of experience in technology and scaling up of businesses. Anand conceptualized De Asra Foundation with a mission to find and solve some of the hard problems in India that would benefit the masses. De Asra's primary focus is to tackle the tough problem of job creation with entrepreneurship. The target audience for De Asra is any and every person who wants to start his or her own business with a project investment cost in the small to medium enterprise range. De Asra Foundation has taken an ambitious target to make use of corporate methodologies for technological application, scaling and process orientation to enable 25,000 entrepreneurs over the next 5 years. De Asra Foundation is a not-for-profit company. Currently, all scene funding is being done by Anand and his family members through personal finances. Thank you.
Before we actually listen to Dr. Deshpande, I would now like to request Mr. Santosh Lalwani and Mr. Milind Joshi, the trustees, and Chairman of Entrepreneur International, to present the guidelines, that is the principles on which J.R.D. Tata lived his life, to the chief guest, Dr. Deshpande. Thank you so much. Now, I would request Dr. Deshpande to take charge of the stage and enlighten us with his words of wisdom.
Give me a minute while this gets set up. Can you hear me? Hello? Okay, so good evening all of you, and it's a pleasure to be here at the Entrepreneurs International Association here with lots of senior members who have been part of this journey for the last 23 years. When I met the organizers, I offered them 4 options of what I could talk about. And they picked that I should talk about technology trends for the entrepreneurs or small businesses, okay? So that's what I'm going to talk about. Hello? Yeah. So since I'm supposed to talk about technology trends at this time of the day, I'm going to try to see what I can do best. I have some ideas and I'm going to use a presentation because I think there are some messages that would be best shared like that. Let me just get this thing up and then we'll get started. Actually, let's leave the lights on, if you don't mind. We can, that way, we can have a conversation. Just give me a minute. I think I can do better. Okay, so I'm going to share with you some technology trends to track, especially in the small business. Just one second. Okay, so I don't know. Is the screen audible, visible? Okay, great. So we'll try to make this as interactive as possible, and please feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions or things like that. I'm going to talk about 4 things today. Again, I think the screen is a little bit out, but let's see. So I'm going to talk about 4 different things. One is I'm going to share with you 5 technology trends that I'm tracking that I think are relevant. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview on some of those technology areas. And I do realize that we have a mixed audience here, so I have tried to keep this to be very simple and try to share with you some anecdotal stories rather than technology. So that way we'll keep this sort of free form for everyone who is here. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the excitement on Digital India is in India and why this is such a great opportunity. So those of you who want to become entrepreneurs, and there are lots of students here, that should give you some ideas of where you could be thinking about, especially in terms of what might be coming up in the next few years. And then I have 2 other things that I'm going to share about. This is the mission that I'm on, which is the Dayasara Foundation. And then we have a technology piece that I would love to share with you as well. So let's get going. So we live in a world with tremendous amounts of disruption. If you look at the kinds of changes that are happening in every single industry, whether you take automobiles, hotels, restaurants, homes, all of these kinds of things that we are used to, every single one of them is getting disrupted. And to give you an example, if you look at some of these sites on the right hand side of these two pairs, I'm sure all of you have used WhatsApp. How much do you pay for WhatsApp? Nothing, right? Who pays for it? Who's paying for the network and all of that stuff? So if you compare the amount of investments in spectrum and all of the stuff that all the other companies have done, which is Airtel and all the others, and the amount of money that they are losing because of the WhatsApp kind of situation, you will realize how the world is changing today, right? Similarly, if you look at, I don't know, how many of you have used Airbnb before? A small number of people, but try it out. It's an amazing service of how you can rent your location, your place, your room, a bed to somebody who wants to kind of use that room for something else. And it's phenomenal how the number of rooms that Airbnb makes available today is significantly more than Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott, all of them put together. So, and the number of countries that they can do with very limited investment from Airbnb. The same is true for PayPal and all of these kinds of services. So, the point I'm trying to make here is that these are all opportunities for small businesses to disrupt the large existing enterprises, and really this is like a great opportunity for some of you to look at how you can disrupt what is working in standard industries and see how to really disrupt the big boys. However, if you are running a big company, you have to always worry how somebody else might disrupt you. So this is one of those challenges that we always face. I've been looking at the industry in India for the last many years, and if you looked at the industry in the last 10, 15, 20 years, you would see that the productivity of companies has gone up tremendously in the last 5, 10, 20 years. Now if you look at the aspirations of most of you, especially the small businesses, for the next 5 years, there is no way you can achieve your aspirations without using technology. Process improvements are not going to give you your growth that you need, and it is essential for small businesses who have generally stayed away from technology to really get intensely involved in technology, because there is no way you can grow your business unless you adopt technology. So technology is not anymore just for the techies or for the IT industry, it's for every single company. They need to think about what's happening and where they can be participating in them. So I'm going to give you 5 themes that I'm going to share a little bit about what you could be doing or what you should be thinking about if you're running a small business in India, in Pune, and what kind of things you should be worried about. Now one of them is of course social media. So how many of you are on WhatsApp? I think everybody is, right? How many of you are on Facebook? There's quite a few people. How many of you are on Twitter? Still quite a few of them. See, again, you can see the young people are on it. The other guys there are not. But if you look at India right now, there are almost 20 crore WhatsApp users, 6 crore unique visitors on YouTube, 2.2 crore visitors on Twitter. So there's a lot of influence that these things have today on everyday life. And if you are running a small business, it's important to understand what is possible using social media and take advantage of it, because exploiting this is almost free, meaning you don't have to pay any money for, let me just see. I'm going to share with you one case study of an example that we did at Persistent, where we were responsible for the social media for Chennai Express. So how many of you saw Chennai Express? A lot of you saw it. What did you think about the movie? Well, a lot of people saw Chennai Express because everyone else saw Chennai Express, right? So a lot of these things, first week of Chennai Express you can always get because of Shah Rukh Khan. Second, third week of Chennai Express, a lot of people saw the movie again and again because somebody else was dragging them there. Now, if you looked at what was happening, we had lots of apps, games, more than 1 million installs of all these things happened. We had a serious campaign on Twitter with Chennai Express, and we actually trended really well as far as Chennai Express is concerned as compared to Hollywood movies, and worldwide rankings were very high. We ran some very special campaigns during Chennai Express. Like here we would run something about, there was Raksha Bandhan somewhere here. We ran a campaign around that. We pushed something on social media. And if you look at the the revenue graph of the movie, right? You see these bumps that came up second and third time. We could time them very cleanly with social media pushes that we were able to do. So you can see some real revenues coming into places like Chennai Express or movies because of use of social media. And social media requires certain investment and some planning, but it is free marketing for most of you, and this is something that I think all of you should think about and set up a plan on how you are going to run social media for yourselves so that you can create your own personal brand. Now a lot of people have come and trashed marketing and sales and all that stuff, but sales is to me the most important profession in the world. If you can't sell, you can't pay for anybody. And I'm really proud to be a salesman, and I love doing sales job. And to some extent, this is something that we all need to learn how to do rather than run away from it. Because this is really what it is all about. You have to make it happen for you. And I know all the entrepreneurs here could not have survived without sales. And this is really very important. And social media is a very nice way of getting to some kind of, systematic way of getting free publicity for the good work that you are doing. I'll give you another example. The first time this poster was put up on Chennai Express, they had this thing called Ready Steady Po. A lot of people thought it was a really bad poster, and a lot of people hated it, and there was a lot of noise that they are trying to be mean to the South Indians. But actually when we looked at the feedback from various things and plotted it on the graph, especially India's map, we found that the South Indians loved that poster. It was the North Indians who thought it was not such a good idea. But again, with this kind of media available to you, you are able to find out exactly what people are saying to you, what are they saying in different places. And if you look at, say, the Delhi Chief Minister, he has mastered the art of being in the news because of some of his abilities on social media. If you look at what's happening with Mr. Trump, in the US, he has spent very little money to get to the place where he is so far, all because of his exploits of social media and media at large. So these kinds of things you cannot afford to ignore, and you have to be savvy about it, because unless you do this well, you could really miss out on many things. And also, if you do some stupid stuff, you will find that you are in trouble for a very long time. And there is no such thing as censorship and all of that stuff on social media, and you have to manage all of these things very effectively. I'm going to skip some of these slides, but we were involved in the social media activities and also managing a lot of the work for the Kumbh Mela in Nasik. Again, very interesting. If you look at what happened in Kumbh Mela, all of you will agree that they did a phenomenal job, and the state administration spent a lot of time in ensuring that the right messages were being sent about the Kumbh Mela 3 months, 6 months before the Kumbh Mela, and all through it, to ensure that not only was it successful, but there was positive attitude towards the Kumbh Mela. And you would have heard that Nashik Kumbh Mela this year, or last year, was considered one of the most successful ones. Kind of things. So are you familiar with this car? So this is the Tesla, This is a Model S, and Tesla is a really phenomenal car, and that has changed the way people look at technology in a very different way. Now let me give you a little bit about the car. It's a amazing electric battery operated car. If you open the car chassis, and if you go to any Tesla dealer, they show the chassis open, you will find that it has a bed of batteries at the bottom and 4 motors on it, and that's all. You have a trunk in the front and a trunk in the back. Now the most interesting part of this car is it's a fully battery operated car, but it's completely based on software. The entire car is made out of software. So much so that there was a situation where in some of the cars caught fire, the battery caught fire, and they realized that the battery was catching fire because the ground clearance was not adequate. They did a software upgrade on Teslas, and every car was raised by 3 inches. Okay. Now, if you were in Detroit today, you would have to, or say you were running Tata Motors, you would have had to do a recall, get every single car back and refit it so that it can go up by 3 inches. Here it was a software upgrade. So you did a software upgrade, your car just moved up by 3 inches when you got up the next morning, and the car was running fine, right? So this kind of stuff is really happening across every single device. Okay. Now they have been introducing things like what they call they have this autopilot which allows you to drive the car with 0 to no assistance. It can park itself and bring the car out, and lots of different things are happening in the technology world today. We are in the auto industry city here, and this is something that we should be thinking about. But if you look at how the Tesla is built and how they are upgrading the car and what happens, normally when you pull the car out of the dealer and when you take it home, your value for the car goes down by half the price because now you have it. But with the Tesla, every few weeks, the software upgrades itself, the Tesla upgrades itself, and you get a new version of software on your car, and it does many more features that were not sold to you when they were sold when the car was sold to you. Now this is going to happen with your cell phone already. Your cell phone is getting upgraded every so often. Not only is it going to happen with your car, it's going to happen with your washing machine, with your dishwasher, with your refrigerator, and every single device that you have. Not only is it going to happen with devices like that, you are going to carry sensors in your body and everywhere else which can get upgraded as you go along. So what is said is that most of you who are on this side of the room are actually going to live for more than 100, and the quest is to make sure that we live like we are 30 for 50 years and not just live 100. And all of this stuff is going to become possible because you are going to see a whole bunch of things that are going to come in all around you and inside you that are going to make life very different from what we have known from the past. Now, if you look at how things are going to be, they are talking about everything getting connected, 212 billion sensors across the world. By 2030, 30 billion objects. Every individual is going to have more than 1,000 sensors and things per person. And that's really what the world is going to. And we will be able to track all kinds of things that are happening in this world. This world is going to be very different from the world that we live in today. And this is something that you have to worry about because there are many issues that are all important issues for software and computer science to solve, including security, privacy, and all of these kinds of things. When all this data is available to everybody, what can you do with it? And if your heart is controlled with a sensor that can be upgraded from somewhere else, then what happens to you when you're sleeping? Your software is upgraded, a lot of different things can happen. So it's all about getting sensors, connectivity, and people together so that you can put all this together to make the IoT happen. And there are lots of different examples that are already happening in the market, whether it is connected cars, smart outlets, parking sensors, it's I think pretty much up to everybody's imagination on what can be possible. And if you think about it, when we are talking about smart cities and all of that, it's all about bringing smart data, smart sensors and smart things put together so that you can do amazing next generation things. Okay. I'm going to skip through these slides, but there are these examples of what people are doing: parking meters, smart buildings, smart mobility. And we are sort of at this next generation of industrial revolution, which is being referred to as Industry 4.0. So when the first revolution happened, which was the first time industrial revolution happened, that was because of the steam engine. So what happened was that people were using horses and for trains and such things, bullock carts or horse carts mainly for transport. And then the steam engine happened. Once the steam engine happened, all the carts kind of went out of business because now you had a steam engine that could go faster, better, and was completely mechanized. The second industrial revolution is the one where people started to do what is known as the assembly line. So Ford started out with an assembly line, and they changed the process of manufacturing by doing very different kinds of setup around the assembly line. The third industrial revolution is the one that is referred to as the computer and automation driven industrial revolution. And the fourth one that we are looking at ahead is going to be where every single device is sensor controlled. It's software driven. You have things that are software driven, and you are going to upgrade all these things on an ongoing basis. And the most interesting thing that you have in this kind of a model is, you know what, the Tesla has, let's say 10,000 Teslas roaming around all over the cities. And the feedback from all 10,000 cars is being collected, thought of and re-upgraded to make sure that the cars, the upgrades are not dependent only on your performance but on the performance of all of these cars that are running around, right? So this ability to think about many devices at scale is really becoming very interesting. I don't know, you must have seen this advertisement from Samsung about a refrigerator where they're saying that you can change the chamber to be a freezer all the way, this one can be a freezer, whatever. So that's all basically, these devices are all software driven. You can change one way or the other and make the everything a freezer or what. And that's the platform is remaining standard and common. I'm going to skip this on the automobile because we are in Pune. Lots